Welcome. Today, we want to continue our series of bringing on a career relauncher, someone who's actually successfully returned to work after a career break. And we introduce to you Terri Rucker.
Terri, it's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yes. So thank you for doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And where are you in California? You're in Silicon Valley, right?
Yes, I am.
Terrific. So we get a lot of followers, students, graduates, and partners who are from that area. An exciting place to work.
Yeah.
A little bit of an intimidating place to work these days because things are kind of a little sketchy. So let's just start at the beginning, Terri. What were you doing in your efforts to return to work,
Right,
that made you think, okay, I need some help. This isn't working?
What I was doing was hiding my skills or my gap years on my resume, trying to figure out ways to look good as a candidate, but also hide my I guess it's close to 20-year gap. And it was getting harder and harder to do that.
And tell our audience, if you could, your background, because it's pretty impressive.
I'm an electrical engineer. I went to Clemson and I worked for several, I worked for HP, IBM, Motorola.
The major iconic brands
Yes.
in the digital world, in the early digital world.
Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And then you took the break to stay home with your kids. And during that break, you were doing some things. You were keeping busy other than just being a mom, right?
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
I was volunteering almost
Yeah.
100% for the schools and for my children. And
Yeah.
so with four parent participation schools, that's a lot of time.
yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. You know, we have a lot of students who are, or people that come across our path in this audience that are, you know, longer gaps. They have longer gaps. And can you just talk a little bit about, you know, so you're trying to hide that gap. Was there like shame around it? What was going on for you?
What was the feeling?
Yeah, what was that feeling you're
I
having?
was told by several, because I tried to get back into the field several different times, like maybe after 5 years or maybe after 10 years.
Yep.
And everybody said, hide your gap. And they would tell me, don't show how old you are, leave all the dates out. All kinds of hiding of your skills and who you are.
Yeah.
Which is just a huge red flag, having been on the recruiting side. If I'm seeing, I mean, I notice when those things are missing. If I see them missing, I know that something's being hidden and I don't want to know what it is. So I don't even invite you in. So were you even getting any traction? Were you getting any interviews or?
Yeah, because the skills, they did call and say,
because you have the foundational
right,
experience.
yeah. But then when they find out, you know, you stumble through the interview process, how to speak about your experience as a caregiver, it was hard. So you have to pivot, like I learned from you, is to just answer the question and then go to your skills.
Just one more question. Who was everyone? Everyone giving you this advice. Who was everyone?
So I'd go to recruiting. So in Silicon Valley, they have a lot of job fairs, and I would go to job fairs and then go to the person up front at the desk, and they say, this is what I suggest you do with the resume. Or I'd call, I had actually a personal career person. She told me to hide everything. And she basically said to me, you really don't want to go back to work because you like your kids more than going to work. So she didn't have any
Oh
kids.
my God. Oh my goodness.
geez.
Oh my goodness.
What was it that when you went through the program, when you started investing the time in yourself and you knew you needed help and you got that help, what was it? What was the turning point? When did you say, okay, now this makes sense. Now I can go out there? I
felt proud of myself because you kept saying what you do in your time off is valuable and it helps you. I mean, it's something you decided to do, and it doesn't take away from your skills or who you were before.
You're in a very technical field, though. So
Yes.
how did you keep your skills current?
Well, I just noticed my skills, it's kind of like I always tell people, I speak several languages, and I may be rusty but I can pick it up quickly. So speaking Spanish, if you talk to a fluent person, I would say, they'd say, oh, you're very rusty, you need practice.
But it comes
But
right
you
back.
have the skills, right? You have the foundation, and you can come back and you can learn new things because you're used to learning new things all the time.
Yeah. So how did you land this project? Terri's working on a project right now that's cooperative between Stanford University and the Department of Energy. It's a long-term project that we're hoping will turn into permanent work. And we do recommend often that our students look at temp to perm arrangements, project work. And again, depending on the economy right now, it's a good thing to do because companies aren't really hiring aggressively. But as we say all the time, the work doesn't go away. They still need to get the work done. They just can't, given the parameters of their hiring structure, they can't hire people, but they can bring contractors in. So Terri's been working for about 7 months now on this project. How did you feel going into that? And why do you think they chose you?
I think they chose me because I had worked on similar projects in the past and my skills matched closely for what they were looking for. And I think they chose me because
I want to hear they chose you because you interviewed so well.
well, the interview process, I think because I'm a contractor, they weren't, it was, hi, how are you? And oh, this, you know, basically I was pleasant to speak to, and the hiring manager was like, I don't know much about this technical stuff. Let's let you talk to someone else. And
so it was like a skill vetting. They weren't trying to trick you like someone might
right.
for a permanent job.
And what so happened is I had a presentation already, and I zoomed my presentation of all my skills and all the projects that I had done, and they were exactly what they were looking for. So it just happens to be the same.
This is a great example of one of my Susanisms, which is, it doesn't matter when she did it. It matters that she did it.
Yes.
Right. So that rust comes off pretty quickly when someone gives you a chance, right?
Right. Exactly. I didn't think of that rust.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you know, I wonder too, getting back into that interview process, you know, once you had this education and once you kind of took that shame off of yourself of
big piece,
what I didn't matter, you know, when I was out, and I should be hiding it, I should be embarrassed about that. You know, your energy when you're probably talking to these people was probably different when you realize I have a lot to offer. And actually, I'm going to make a whole Zoom presentation that's going to show you exactly what I have to offer.
Yes, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did your family respond? You going back?
Oh, I think because I'm the sole breadwinner, they were very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
And proud of you too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you have a couple that are older, right?
I have one graduated college, American University, and another one I guess I have, yes.
But the good thing is that at that age, they can appreciate it more than they can when they're 5.
They call me all the time about interviewing, and they ask me how to interview, and
good.
and
I
they're
have
still-
send us some more videos. You can watch our videos. It's the same idea.
Oh, that's great.
videos.
Just listening to your story, it makes me realize you are a really good example of the work that we still, as women, have to do, or as caregivers have to do, and educating the outside world that what we have done during these opt-out years really does matter. And we still have these skills and abilities, and we may have to, you know, knock the rust off, but it's going to happen quickly. And
we've developed new skills.
yes,
Because when you were nose down in electrical engineering projects, you weren't leading human projects like you did as a volunteer.
yes.
And so there are new skills that we acquire that are equally valuable, maybe not equally valuable, but valuable in different ways.
Yes.
Yes.
So I just love the idea that you know, went through this process and you're educating the world for all of the women behind you or all of the caregivers behind you that we shouldn't be covering these things up, because your resume now does not cover up that gap. And actually now it doesn't have a gap anymore.
That's great.
So that's fantastic. So just on that note, you know, if you were speaking to the woman you were months ago, before you went through this whole process, what's a piece of advice? What is something that you would want to say to her?
Don't be afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Just put yourself out there. You might fall a couple of times, but pick yourself up and continue to fight for what you want. I think that's something I have lots of projects, and it takes years to achieve something. And if you keep going, you're like, oh, I started this process a year ago, and now I have what I've been striving for.
And you're a really good, just having you here on the screen is an inspiration, because I know when I'm trying to achieve a goal, I want to see someone who's done it. I need to know it's doable. So here you are in probably the most competitive region of the world for employment, in probably the most competitive field, in a down, for the tech world, a slightly down hiring market with a 20-year gap. So on the longer end, and you're working at on a premier project with a premier partnership organization, which is fantastic.
Awesome.
Yes, it's great.
We're excited for you, Terri.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
And they're damn lucky to have you, Terri.
Thank you so much for joining us. And if you like what you saw today, we will be meeting with more returners who've been successful like Terri. So please subscribe to our channel. We put new content out every Monday. You can learn more about us from our website, which is www.preparetolaunchu.com. We're on social media as well, and we look forward to bringing more content to you next week.
Thank you.